Hello.
Hello, ladies. How are you all? And welcome to our first episode of The Spill. I am Bec, and this is Nick. Nick, how are you?
I am better now. Talking with my best friend, drinking a glass of wine on a Wednesday, looking at the ocean. Could it get any better?
Most people refer to today as hump day as well, and not for us today. It is number one of our episode of The Spill. So, Nick, we have been speaking about this for so long, and we knew we wanted to do it, but we just needed to schedule it. And here we are. And a few other things. We knew we wanted a space to have conversations that are real, honest, and now we're automatically funny, so that's not hard for us. So you're welcome, by the way. And it was really important. We wanted to make sure that we set up a space where we can say what everyone is thinking, but just not saying. Delivering around all the things that move us towards being the woman, along the way spilling the truths, inspo, and guidance. So, Nick, after I have a little sip, I want you to start us on our first segment. What have you got?
Okay, let me wait for your sip. I will wait for you.
I'm ready.
So, here we are, ladies. Now, first segment of The Spill is called Fucking Good Manners. Now, I would apologise, but we did give notice that there may be explicit language. And we've just got to rock and roll with this. Don't get offended by swear words. Don't get offended by anything. It's really a waste of time and energy. But where we got this from was there is a book called Good Fucking Manners. And if you don't have it, go and pick it up. It's a little book. And it's hilarious. And if you have a girls' night, this is how we first learned about it from Jen, who's in the group as well. We had a girls' night. So sit around with your best friends and look through this book, drinking a glass of wine, and try not to laugh, because it just goes through basic truths in a hilarious way, because it's like somehow basic manners have slipped away from us. And we thought, well, rather than reading some of those lines, we're not about copying other people. We're about recreating. So we thought, well, we're just going to come up with women, wine and wealth. Good fucking manners. And what we're going to share is, and we'd love to hear it from you as well, because it'd be cool to think about experiences and things that happen just day to day for you, where it's like, okay, people need to check their manners with that. So we've had an experience the last probably few months, I guess, Bec, which has been interesting. So with Women, Wine and Wealth, one part of our business is creating collaboration and partnerships with a beautiful product that we have. And so any woman in business, to create business, you're probably pounding the pavement and doing the calls, and you're having meetings with new people, you're meeting, new business owners, new women, all the rest of it. And we are setting up collaboration partnerships. And what's been interesting, though, is the communication back, or should I say non-communication back? Do you want to dive a little bit deeper into just that experience with?
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm a bit excited about this. It's so interesting, Nick. So obviously set the scene. We've been, pounding the pavement, going into businesses. We feel what we've got is a great way of adding value into people's businesses. And what we found is, after every time we'd go into a meeting or we'd have a business Zoom, Nick and I would always make sure we check in with ourselves first, because sometimes you don't want to blame the other person and think, oh, well, it wasn't us. We are so big on self-check-in, give us some feedback, and then move on. But the problem was, it's not us. It absolutely wasn't. It's just, I actually think we need to send this book to them, Nick, because I believe manners, and it's probably a reflection of where their business is at and their personal life, because it's not hard. Like, if something's not for you, it's just don't lie. Just say no, thank you, instead of leading someone along, kind of like in a relationship as well. It flows over into so many aspects. So I just didn't like that. There is so many people out there that, one, don't follow up on their word. I feel like their communication lines, for lack of, are just not there, and not having the balls, excuse the pun, to say no. And what's also been really clear to us, though, Nick, is we've been really clear on what we're going to say yes and no to, which has been a great learning curve for us, because we're very, very clear on who our woman is and what business we want to work with.
Yeah, so I think, and that's the thing with the good fucking manners. The takeaway is this: follow through with your word, and if you don't think you can, it's probably a no.
Yeah.
And Beck, you said something yesterday. I don't know if you read it from a book or it was a quote, but I'm going to read it to the ladies, because isn't this true of just how the world is now operating for some reason? And what it said is this: is telling a lie is called wrong, telling the truth is called right, except when telling the truth is called bad manners and telling a lie is called polite. And how mixed up that is, because like you said, getting so clear on what energetically, what value-wise, what intention you need to say no to and yes to, so that you can follow through. Because, following through with your word is just having good fucking manners. And that goes for if you're a woman and you're building business, or if just anything, like any relationship, it's just so important to have that good manners in that sense. So yes, get the book. I can see someone saying I need to get this book. You absolutely need to get the book. It's hilarious. But Beck, let's move on and dive into the next section of the spill.
Beautiful. And this is our juicy part. I know we haven't even hit you with the good stuff yet. And
my thought, it has already been so full of value. I could get off now and change my life.
You're welcome, by the way. We put it to our massive social media followings, and obviously not yet anyway. And in our Women Want a Wealth group, we wanted to actually find out, there was a few topics that come up, but we believe comparison is what, and you ladies have spoken, comparison is something that, I know we hear the quote all the time, that comparison is a thing for joy. Like, that's great. That's just fluffy. We want to give you the actual, like, Nick, tell me, what is comparison? And actually, I don't know, like Google, normally we go to it and everything. I don't even know the actual real definition of comparison. Do you have your phone? Can we maybe just
It was funny because we were chatting about, like, obviously this being the topic because a few women voted on it. Like, everyone needs everything right. We get it. But comparisons, I think, such a hot topic in the world. And like you said, Beck, there's a lot of fluff around it as well. Like, someone gives you a quote and it's like, oh yeah, automatically I don't compare. Thanks for that quote. Not really. It's going to take a lot more deep work than that, just from my experience. But I'm just going to read out, I've just Googled what comparison actually is, and it says a consideration or estimate of the similarities or dissimilarities between two things or people. And what's interesting about that is that doesn't, when I read that, that doesn't read comparison is creating doubt in yourself. Comparison is meaning you're lesser than someone else. Comparison is meaning if she wins, you can't. But for some reason, that's the way we show up in the world when it comes to comparison. So I think the biggest way to do a check is actually, what does comparison actually mean versus what is the meaning that we're giving it as well. But Beck, for you, because we've spoken about this a bit, because it is I don't know if it'll never not come up. Actually, I'll talk to this in a bit. There's part of comparison that I enjoy. But for you, how does comparison creep up for you? Like, when has it crept up? How does it creep up? What do you do?
Yeah, and it's even interesting. Like, I feel like 95% of the population, when they see something that they want, it's kind of like, oh, I can't get that, poor me. And the 5% would get triggered and be like, oh, okay, I don't have that, but this is what's possible. So I used to be in the, and I still do go in and out of, please don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying I know how to get out of comparison. But what I love about this is I was really bad at one stage with social media, in a sense of I would get on my phone, I would scroll, and sometimes it would be the first thing in the morning that I would check into. And I was already setting myself up for a bad day, because some of the women I would see on my social media, I don't know their story, I know nothing about them, but sometimes I'd see something they were wearing or how they were posing or what they were doing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not enough. I'm not pretty enough. I don't have that body. And that was a really bad spiral for me. So what I actually did, which anyone, if you've got a phone, you could clearly do, not right now because you want to talk to us. After the call, it was really easy, Nick. I just went and unfollowed so many women that weren't of any service to me with anything. They were making it worse for me. I only follow women now that inspire me, that I do not feel jealous or, because a bit of jealousy used to come up as well, which I don't have that now. And I just feel social media is such a big part, and it's going to be for the rest of our lives, even for our kids. So that's one little tip I believe that has helped, is just unfollowing women that made me question. And now I can choose what I consume. So what about you, Nick?
I think it's such a good point there, because the world is nearly it's nearly curated in a way that we automatically compare. Like you said, like we open up our phone and we're comparing, where, there's this competition kind of aspect that people go into. There's all of this stuff. Like, it's kind of a world that's been curated for comparison. But what you just said then is, and I think what we all need to do is, like, we have some responsibility for our perspective of comparison. Right? Like how we feel about it. So yes, and I've done that. Like, I went to a networking event last week, and I've just moved, and I'm in a new city. I'm in a new place. I went and met new women, and I actually came home and I was like, these women have got their shit together. I was like, these women have done phenomenal things. And then I sat there for a little bit at night, and my eyes were wide open. I was like, I've got anxiety, because I was like, I'm going too slow. I'm not creating enough. Oh my God, I need to step up. But then I was like, you know what? How cool that I get to be around that presence. How cool that I get to be around an environment that's going to push me further. How cool that I get to see what's possible in other people. Because like you said, you can either look at comparison and go, it's about someone having something that you don't, or is it about someone showing possibility of what you can have?
Yeah.
Right? Like, two different perspectives. And I think the other thing there as well, Bec, is social media. Like, this is why we always make laughs about it. It's like, oh my gosh, all of our followers, like, we are going up by 3 and then we are losing 3, and we can show you how to do that in 3 steps. In 3 steps. But then,
it's so true.
It is. Measure what matters.
Yes.
But we only know what matters to us if we know who we are. And so when you were saying then, you were like, oh, I don't have that body, and oh, she's got that bag, or she looks like this, or she's created this. It's like, do you really even care about that? Like, do you truly, like, is that what you value? Is that what you care about? And if it is, then great, shift your perspective and go, cool, that's what's possible. But if it's not, we have to let it go and move on, because it's just this, it's curated to be in our face of comparison. But it's like, measure what matters to you.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I love that. And I just feel, as we said, this episode is purely just for us to share what we're not perfect at it, but we've been able to make a few changes that has allowed us to step into a new space that when it comes up for us, as you said, we get to choose what comes in and what comes out. So that kind of answers, like, that was my last question, and you kind of beautifully wrapped it up. I want to finish with so this is how we're going to do this. Nick does not know what quote I'm going to come up with. I've got a quote here, and I am going to say the quote. Now, you might get a few things from Nick. She might just drink to it and say, well done, episode 1 finished, or she might spill on what comes up for her when I read it. So
Wait.
Take a breath. Have a sip.
Okay, I'll have a sip and you spill it.
It's short and sweet, so just get ready for it.
I'm ready.
And I've never heard this quote before. And this is not fluffy. It's okay. You ready?
Okay.
The value of your work is not in the dollar. It's in your word.
Ooh.
One for you?
Cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers. The value of your work is not in the dollar. It's in your word.
Do you know what? I don't know if you can relate to this, Bec, or anyone who's listening can. I struggled for a long time, maybe sometimes still do, to be honest, with going, if the money's not, like, I'm the value of the money in my bank account, for example, and who I am as a person, the value I give, everything going on right now, it's not necessarily exactly what's in my bank account right now. Only because we've got to remember, results have a thing called lag time.
Yeah.
But in being in business now for the last 6 years, in building relationships, in trying new things, in everything that we do, it's, your word is everything. everything, because money can be made, but your word can be lost pretty quick.
Oh,
Pretty quick. Like money, you know, like, and I'm working with who is Grace, by the way, who Grace is coming in as a contributor to Women, Wine and Wealth. And she talks about how money is just a concept. It's a concept, and we've given it a certain energy. So I know that it's like, well, I can create money because money is just out there in abundance. But I can't get back my word so easily if I lose it because of my actions, because of my integrity, because of who I'm showing up in the world. And we also know that how we show up, so the energy and what we put behind our word and our follow through, as we said, good fucking minute.
Not the basketball follow through.
Yeah, the result is the money, not the being and the action and the words that we give. So I love that one.
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes sense. I hope that it did. But what are your thoughts on it? Why did you pick that quote?
Same thing. I just felt it wasn't fluffy. And as you said, the lag time of business and money, because it's something that we don't talk much of as money, because that's what we're told, don't talk about money.
Mm-hmm.
But same thing is, and I've made it a real conscious thing at the moment, is my word is everything. And money will absolutely follow once you start showing up and you give your word to someone. It's, how is there any like, what else do you need if you can give someone your word? Because there's trust that comes with that, there's respect, the relationship built, and I just feel it was a great topic, great quote for our whole call.
Great quote, good find.
I know, you're welcome.
You can add that to your skill set. Well done.
Thank you. I appreciate that one. So that's our first episode.
Wrap up the spill. We like it short and sweet, and we hope that you ladies, everyone listening in, I mean, we've got no doubt this has probably changed your life in a short 18 minutes. But we do love this space and appreciate everyone in it, and we're excited to grow Women, Wine and Wealth, the women in here. We are going to be jumping on with the spill. This is just the beginning, every 2 weeks. So our next episode, Bec, is March 31st, same time, same place, but we're changing it up because it is going to be an interview with another woman sharing her experience, and you don't know what, because you're not going to know what unless you're on live. The March 31st. So, share. What we want you to do is, someone from Penrith is calling me. Penrith, I'll get back to you. Not now. But what we would love for you to do is share with us maybe what you took away. Share with us your perspective on comparison, your experience with comparison. Tag us, because we are going for 1 million Instagram followers.
Are we?
Well, why not? People like Paris Hilton can get it. Why not us?
No, you know what we're going for? We're going for 1 million women that keep their word.
Oh, that keep their word. Yeah, the rest can go. We have no time. Share with us what you took from this. Share with us your perspective, your experience, and we will be back on with episode 2 of The Spill in 2 weeks' time. Same place, same wine.
Same one, I like that. If you feel that this message, if a woman in your life needs to hear this, you can just add them into the group and then tag them in this video. We would so appreciate if you've got something from this. If you want to jump on and do a video as well. We're not life changers, but we are wine drinkers, and we keep our word.
And that is The Spill.
You're welcome.
Good
afternoon, good evening.
Bye, ladies.
Bye, everyone.